right, guys, I am out here with Chris Osaka from Tomu because this is a pretty amazing company that exists here in the DMV area.
It's an old aircraft manufacturing plant. We're Tomu. We make prefab modular homes and villas for hotels, residential, ADUs, the whole market. Whereas normal construction, it's very sequential. You have to wait for all the on-site work to be done before you can start building. We get to do that while the contractor's doing all the on-site work to help speed up the process.
That's awesome, man.
I wanted to do something that was kind of a modern Japanese-inspired kind of spa and hotel.
Yeah.
And I couldn't find the builder to build the room.
For sure, yeah, it's tough.
And it just so happened that our chief design officer on our team, he was doing the work. And at a certain point, we said, what if we just did this ourselves? Yeah, I was doing marketing and retail work for Nike and the Jordan brand back in the day. Well, then COVID hits, and as we all did, we had a little extra time. And, well, it actually started that we wanted to do a passion project for ourselves. It really depends on the size of the unit. We have units that start at 250 square feet. We go all the way up to 1,400 square feet. The time can vary anywhere between 6 weeks to 12 weeks, depending on the size.
I mean, I stayed at a unit in Virginia that was smaller than one of these, and I think I spent $500. And it was booked for like the next 3 months. And I was like, this is crazy. I mean, whoever built this is making some money, you know?
We build these to meet hurricane code, wind shear, and California seismic.
Wow. Where's like the craziest place that you've had sent one of these or have someone doing one of these so far?
Right now, I think
All right, guys, I am out here with Chris Osaka from Tomu. Chris, thank you so much for inviting me to your amazing facility here at Hagerstown, Maryland. And you were kind of giving me a quick tour, but now we're going to be showing the viewers a tour as well. So tell them a little bit about your company and kind of what you guys do, because this is a pretty amazing company that exists here in the DMV area.
Yeah, well, first, thanks for coming out.
Of course.
We're in our facility out at Hagerstown Airport. It's an old aircraft manufacturing plant. We're Tomu. We make prefab modular homes and villas for hotels, residential, ADUs, the whole market. So we're gonna go take a tour around and show you how we do it.
Yeah, definitely, man. Let's go take a quick tour now and start walking over here now. Obviously, I'm assuming these are when they move these suckers.
Yeah. Yeah, we need a little help moving these things in and out of the warehouse when they're ready to ship out.
So I'm seeing a sign that says oversized, like assembly and then pre-assembly. Why don't you tell me a little bit about this area over here?
Yeah, so we start the process essentially literally from the ground up. Everything we do is a permanent structure, so it has to be built to any sort of residential or commercial code.
Like code and all that,
Like any other permanent structure. So we start with what we call kind of the floor cassette. We do all the floor framing, the joists, the insulation, and then from there we start doing the exterior walls and then the roofing, and then we can start closing everything in.
So it was like a traditional house, right? Like you start with the foundation and then you guys start building it up from there.
Yeah, the only difference is that we work in parallel with the stuff that's happening on site. So whereas normal construction, it's very sequential. You have to wait for all the on-site work to be done before you can start building. We get to do that while the contractor's doing all the on-site work to help speed up the process.
That's awesome, man. So like from the time like someone gets going and you start like with the foundation, when is it usually like out the door? Like what's that look like?
Really depends on the size of the unit. We have units that start at 250 square feet. That's just a single module.
So that kind of be like a hotel room?
Yeah, hotel room and ADU. We go all the way up to 1,400 square feet, two-bedroom units. And so the time can vary anywhere between 6 weeks to 12 weeks, depending on the size. Really, the limiting factor is, is the site ready?
The site, yeah. I mean, if you know anything about like site work, which obviously you do, but like a viewer, I mean, it takes a while to get going. Like a lot of people will call me and say, hey, I want to buy this $10,000 piece of land. And I'm like, well, first of all, you might not even be able to build on it, right? And then, you got to get the counties involved and all that. So you kind of, like, there's a lot of site prep work that has to go into it.
Yeah, there's site prep. Also with each state, because these are supposed to be permanent structures, we have to submit with the state. And that's always a little variable that's outside of our control. But the building process that we can scoot along.
Yeah, so what's over here? So now we got a bunch of guys working over here. What's this like pre-assembly area? So they kind of moved and now they've got like the structure up. And then we're coming over here, I see is there like drywalls already in, or like what's going on over here? Is there even drywall? I don't even know.
Yeah, so essentially two parts of construction. really getting the envelope built and sealed. Once we get all the MEP, all the mechanical and electrical plumbing into the walls, that's when we're able to get that inspected. Those inspections happen in our facility as opposed to on site, like in normal construction. But once we get that inspection done, then we're able to close up the wall and we can kind of move things back here where it's really all about the finishing work, the drywall, the getting the flooring, the paint, all the cabinetry, fixtures, etc.
Wow, so it like literally shows up like ready to go.
Yeah.
So like what stage would so this one I can see some drywalls in, like rooms are in, like what stage would this one be in, you think?
Yeah, this one's gonna head out here in about the next 2 weeks. So it's the exterior hasn't been installed yet. We try to install that as late as possible so it doesn't get damaged in any of the warehouse. But all the interior drywall is done. The flooring's right about to go in. Once the flooring goes in, it goes real quick because then it's just a matter of putting in your cabinetry and your toilet.
So like it shows up at the like land with the cabinetry, all that in there?
Oh yeah, all of that's done.
Man, that's just crazy. Let's keep walking a little bit further down here. So this is kind of like, so now they kind of come out here. I see like a bay. Is that where they exit out, or am I looking like something crazy here?
No, we still have to truck them all the way back out front because that's our loading area. This is another 100,000 square feet or so of space.
Yeah, this space here is, if you guys can imagine, this was like literally like an airplane hangar.
Yeah, they built cargo planes out here.
Right. That's crazy. Yeah, man. So you can see all the construction going on. Tons of guys working. Like one of the reasons I wanted to do this with you, man, this is a really unique operation, really cool. Something that's like a really exciting space because we were talking earlier and I was saying like there's a county in Virginia where a lot of people did like these modulars, but you can't get loans on them. But you were saying that's possible with these, right?
Yeah, and that's one of the big differences with our system versus some other kind of manufactured homes is that they're built to a HUD standard, which is essentially on a chassis with wheels. It's mobile. Because of that, it creates some other challenges when it comes to financing. These, for all intents and purposes, once they are on the foundation, it is a permanent structure like any other that would have been built on the site.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen some that are pretty crazy, like where you actually had to go to the DMV to do the closing. Like they didn't even consider it an actual house.
Yeah, they get VINed and registered just like any other vehicle.
Yeah, was there anything else in here you wanted to point out about the process or anything? Because this seems like it's pretty streamlined. It's almost like a really good factory lineup right here.
Yeah, it's it's not the fanciest of old facilities, but it does the job for us. I mean, the main thing is, there's just so many opportunities for where these things can go. Obviously, you're very familiar with just kind of housing and the cost of it. So whether it be people using these as second homes or even ADUs on the residential side, but also for us, we also do a lot of hospitality. My background's in hospitality, so people that want to do, whether it's little short-term rentals or glamping type things, all the way up to adding a few of these as a part of a full-scale resort. The applications of them are pretty flexible.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's something that I'm excited. We're going to sit down for an interview after this. I'm excited to talk to you about more because I see a huge opportunity with that space. Just because I know the challenges alone of like even somebody building a property, you got to find the right construction person. You got to hope they show up on time. That's what I'm excited about. What you guys do.
Yeah, and especially once you get outside of the city, that becomes that much more difficult because just to get people out there on time, it gets more expensive. I think that's what a lot of offsite construction really brings to the table.
Yeah, for sure. One thing I just really wanted to point out real quick, so I see some of them, like obviously they got to be able to fit on a truck. Like what's is there like 3 that can come together, 2?
Yeah, our largest one, our 2 bedrooms, are 4 different modules that come together, but each module is under 12 feet wide. So that's how we keep everything kind of road legal and do it in a way where we don't have to have all the extra guide cars because that's where things get
you're starting talking about these like flag cars and all that. Yeah. Well, let's walk. So you guys have one that's kind of like finished over there. I want to show them that one. Let's go over there and show them that one. Chris, so you got to tell me, I obviously checked this out a little bit earlier. I got like a huge film crew here. But anyways, because this is like a semi-finished unit right here?
Yep, this is our kind of our original model unit. We call this our studio villa. So this is one of our 500 square foot units. Could be an Airbnb or a short-term rental.
Nice.
Or ADU size unit, but fully finished. This is part of our pre-design line.
Gotcha. Yeah, and I noticed this one. Is this one like 3 units put together?
Yeah, this system's 3 units put together. Some of our newer system are 2 units together, depending on the size.
Nice.
But this gives everybody an idea of what we do, kind of the layout, the look and feel.
Yeah, this thing is awesome, man. This is like a 5-star hotel. Let's go walk inside here. I'm gonna ask him some more questions. All right, so now, Chris, we're over here inside one of the finished units here that you guys kind of use as like an example, right? So tell me a little bit quickly about this space right here that we're in.
Yeah, so this is actually our original prototype that we built a few years ago. It's about 480 square feet. Our production models now are a little bit larger than that. We've made some updates and improvements, but this gives people an idea of like the look and the feel and the layout, the quality level of what we do.
Yeah, this is like really high end too. Like I noticed like the rain follow shower over there. You got the nice bathroom, cabinetry, a little kitchen over here. These are really cool, man. So I got to ask you, so you said you used to work for Nike over in the West Coast and you came over to DC. So were you like one day just like, you know what, I want to get into the tiny not tiny, but you know what I mean? I'm getting the modular home business. Like what the heck happened? Like how did you go from there to here?
Yeah, don't get my shoes. I got
yeah, exactly. He's got the Nikes on, so do I.
The dirty warehouse
yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yeah, I was doing marketing and retail work for Nike and the Jordan brand back in the day. I grew up in Portland, Oregon, and then one day I got a random phone call from a Hilton recruiter to work out at their headquarters in McLean and made the leap to hospitality.
Awesome, yeah. Then what made you kind of switch from that to getting into this?
Well, then COVID hits, and as we all did, we had a little extra time. And
you must have had a lot of extra time.
A lot of extra time. Well, it actually started that we wanted to do a passion project for ourselves. We wanted to do our own development. I wanted to do something that was kind of a modern Japanese-inspired kind of spa and hotel.
Yeah.
And I couldn't find the builder to build the rooms.
For sure, yeah, it's tough.
And it just so happened that our chief design officer on our team, he was doing the work. And at a certain point, we said, what if we just did this ourselves? Because we started bumping into people that
then you're going all kind of different sectors and everything. Yeah,
it's like we started meeting people that needed what we also couldn't find out in the market, so we went down this path.
This is awesome, man. Yeah, so you were telling me there's like, you kind of do like, you got like the hotel side and then like the personal side. Like tell me a little bit more about that. Like where do you see this industry going, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, you're well aware, like there's a lot of demand in housing. And that's across the board because there are shortages. So our residential side is really a lot of people that are looking for second homes. They want to use it as an ADU if it's a smaller unit. Maybe it's a vacation rental, something like that. The way we design is really for kind of that leisure and hospitality use. So like you said, the rain showers, the soaking tubs, like they are very generous units built around that type of lifestyle. So we have all that's for an individual buyer, we have options for them. But we say we go from host to hotelier. So that goes all the way up to now those that are wanting to develop some sort of hotel. And it could be a small micro hotel, it could be a large development, but they can use our units as guest rooms for their developments.
Yeah, definitely. Like I could see if you were like a big hotel and then you had a huge resort, and you've got like ponds on the property, whatever, you already got the land, the infrastructure, you could put a bunch of these on there, you know, and have another good setup for like revenue stream, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a way for not just to build something from the ground up, but if there's an existing hotel and they want to breathe some new life into it and add a few more rooms on it, this is a very kind of cost-effective and kind of turnkey way of doing that.
Yeah, and like when I think like modular home, I'm thinking like really basic house showing up. I mean, these things like they are like high end, and even the outside is like really unique and everything. I'm really impressed with what I've seen with these so far.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the one misnomer that we get bucketed into is like the tiny home thing. And I would say without fail, 99% of people, they walk in and they say, oh, this is a full-size thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's got like a huge tall ceiling, everything, Yeah, these are crazy, man. Really cool, like concept of what you guys have done. Is there like any unique features that you think like stand out from these between like a traditional like modular like this type of unit?
I think first and foremost is we build these to be permanent structures. A lot of prefabs, they're built around the HUD code, which is a temporary or non-permanent structure. So that makes it a little bit more difficult from a financing standpoint. But for our units, they are permanent. They're built like a permanent structure. So you can buy, sell, finance just like any other permanent structure.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, we were talking earlier, but like I said, I mean, it's people think, like people will call me and say, hey, I want to do an ADU or I want to put a modular home on this property. And I'm like, it's not like you just walk into a Wells Fargo and go and say, hey, let me go get my loan for that. It's a process. A lot of them don't even lend on that. So it's really cool that you already have like partners, right? You said to help with that if someone has the potential like land to do it.
Yeah, so I think the first, like you said, the financing. So we have partners for financing, depending on what the scenario is. We can help somebody figure that out.
Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah, it's definitely like a unique product because, like I said, I mean, I've seen these, people try to get into this space and it just never really works out. So, have you had many people like start one of these as like an Airbnb or like another property?
Yeah, we actually have one that just got installed in Linden, Virginia that they're going to use, I think, as a vacation house and rental for themselves. So at least that's nice to have close to home. But then we ship our units. We have another one going to the Hamptons, Tennessee, North Carolina. They're going all over.
Yeah, and that makes sense because those are all like vacation areas. The Hamptons, they must have had some nice land over there. But I mean, like Tennessee, yeah. So like a lot of people, if you don't know Virginia much, we have like the Shenandoah Park. And a lot of people have tried, especially when you're getting up on some of those mountains and things like that. The thing that I don't like about traditional building per se is like you've got to get different subcontractors. You got to hope the contractor shows up that week. You got to hope it's ready. And then it never, I tell people all the time when they're like looking to build a house or a property, unless you're talking like a national builder, it's going to take time. There's going to be heartache in it. And a lot of people honestly end up like giving up on the project. So it's cool that you guys have like a set thing that could come in. So if I own like say an acre, right? Like in a Linden, Virginia or Front Royal, what would I actually like need to be able to put like one of these in? Like obviously well and septic, right? So I'd have to perk for all that.
Yeah. So you do your well and septic. You'd have your general contractor install the foundation of whatever type is right for you. We can work with a few different ones. But then after that, it's essentially once you're ready, once that site's ready with those utilities pulled and the foundation's there, then you're just waiting for our trucks to arrive, and it takes about 2 to 3 days, depending on the size of the unit, to pick it off the truck, put it on the foundation, do all the trim strips and weatherproofing, attach the utilities, and then...
That's crazy. That's a really quick process. Like, what would be like the ideal scenario? Like someone came with you with land already, or like they were like, this is something that I'm thinking about? Because finding land in general could be a hard part, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we meet people in all stages of their journey. So we're happy to advise and consult depending on where they are. But certainly once they have their piece of land and they know what the kind of the municipality allows for and what they can do with the lot, that's when things kind of start moving along because you can actually action on it.
Yeah, for sure. What I tell a lot of people if they're looking to get into like doing something like this or building a prefab or doing land, I'm like, go up and talk to the county first. Like see what's required. Because like I was telling you when we were walking around, maybe like VDOT, Virginia Department of Transportation, they might say you're messing with the road and like you've got to put in an entrance and all these other things. So, but like I said, this could probably save on some of those like extra costs when you have like a unit ready like this.
Yeah, financing is another one.
Yeah.
But certainly once you get down to the municipal level, if there's HOAs, things like that, they could have a say. And having something that's basically finished that you can put in front of them and say, hey, does this work for you? That I think that makes it. Could you imagine
you're like building like your dream property and the HOA gets in the way of HOAs have a lot of power. So one of the questions I wanted to ask you, like, what is the so the time that you start from like the frame till it gets to like a unit like this, like what's that timeline look like in the factory here?
I mean, we can move that from, our smallest ones can probably get done in 6 to 7 weeks. Our larger ones, maybe 12 weeks. For us, it's about, we want to get it right.
Right, yeah.
For us, the time savings really comes in the fact that we can overlap and run in parallel with the site work being done. So certainly once we get into some custom projects for our commercial clients, that can have some variables to it. But
yeah, definitely. Yeah, because I would think if you're looking at like building a house on like a piece of land that you own that's ready, that you're talking 8 to 12 months at least to even go through that whole process. So that's a pretty quick process.
Yeah, typically what we find is that going state by state and just working through that process, that's the long part. The building process in here, this is a controlled environment. We can speed that up or slow that down to match the pace of our clients, which is, oftentimes we have to slow down just as much as we want to speed up for our clients. But those are the big variables.
Yeah, for sure. Like what's the I can only imagine, is it like a huge nightmare when you have to transport one of these, or do you guys have that pretty good down to a science where they come in and grab it and then put it on a truck?
You know, the transport's kind of the easy part.
Wow.
At that point, everything's done inside and out of the units, and we protect and wrap everything, and then we drop it on the flatbed and ship it out. And we work with carriers.
Right. You don't just call a tow truck company.
Yeah. We're not just.
You don't call Hagerstown Towing and say, hey, come. Yeah, exactly. There's obviously
these are specialty
carriers that specialize in these. Yeah, it's weird, man. Like, so I stayed at an Airbnb in Shenandoah, Virginia, and I was like, this is a really cool structure. And I started like Googling around. There really wasn't that many options at all. Like, I feel like you guys are in a really good space here because there's really like not many options. Like, I couldn't figure out anything. Most of those people selling plans for $5,000 to $10,000 for a house.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that's where kind of the time and the savings come into play, is because a lot of this is driven by places that are within a 1 to 2 hour drive of a major metropolitan city.
Right.
And it's hard to get people out there to do the work, especially when you're site building
100%,
from scratch.
yeah.
But to your point, especially in DC, there's not a whole lot of destinations for people to get out of the city for a weekend or something and go relax.
Yeah, exactly. Because, I mean, it's just, even any metropolitan city, I mean, obviously America's going through a huge housing shortage. I mean, and you're talking like we need millions of more houses. Even like I've seen like San Antonio, other places, they've gone to really tiny home neighborhoods. And they're still expensive. They're still $300,000. It's not like it's a $100,000 unit or something like that. Do you have like any idea, like if somebody, like what's kind of like your starting price in one of these? Or like, obviously I know they can get bigger and bigger. What's that kind of look like?
Yeah, our smaller units start at about $95,000 per unit. Our 2 bedrooms go up to about $375,000. I think for us, the big thing to note is that because these are being used for things like vacation rentals, but kind of the math on it's a little different in terms of like the drivers of why people are kind of buying these, how they kind of make the math.
Yeah, we were talking a little bit about this. One of the challenging things is obviously financing. So you guys walk through, like work with partners and all that.
Yeah, the financing. I mean, ultimately, if you're doing this through a traditional bank, like you gotta be able to pull comps and do all those things.
Yeah, exactly.
Things that you do. But I mean, we certainly build a premium product. We want to say it's accessible, but still premium.
Yeah, for sure. Like when you've talked to like maybe like a big hotel brand or like a resort, like what's kind of like what do you think's like kind of like the perfect setup for someone like that? If they were like, hey, we want to put 30 of these, or we want to start a resort, we got this land, like what does that kind of look like? Because that's gotta be cool, right? That's kind of an exciting project to be a part of.
Yeah, I mean those things get fun because there's a lot of variables that you're trying to solve for. In hospitality too, you have kind of this equation where you want your rooms to be nice, you want to invest in them because that's what's going to help you kind of get a good room rate. So we kind of work backwards with our clients of understanding where are you putting this, who is your clientele. That's going to help justify what's the kind of per unit cost that we want to budget around. And then we can kind of back into working on a custom design for those projects to kind of meet that per unit.
Yeah, I definitely think it's a good spot that you guys are in because I noticed when Airbnb came big, the hotels were kind of bland, right? And then you've noticed that they've all kind of adjusted. They kind of went back to war with Airbnb a little bit, customers, and then they started to do like unique to different designs, and they started changing, like we're gonna have a modern hotel and this and that. I feel like this is a good way. If I was like a hotel brand, this would be a good way to like compete, against those type of properties. And the whole like, I know Airbnb is cool, but then you're doing a bunch of work and all that. Sometimes it's better to stay at a hotel where you just show up and leave, Well,
I think that's what we've seen over the past 5 years is that Airbnb really unlocked a whole different side of travel, and like everything else, something starts sticking, it works, everybody jumps in and does the exact same thing. And then it kind of gets a little saturated. But really what it did was it unlocked this kind of spectrum between the short-term rental and the hotel. And now we have all these people that have really creative ideas, different themes and amenities and sizes that they can kind of tweak to make their own. And that's who's coming to us to make these kind of really unique types of new hotels.
Yeah, it's cool, man. I mean, this is a really awesome concept. I mean, I stayed at a unit in Virginia that was smaller than one of these, and I think I spent $500 for one night. And and then I was just looking around, I was messing with it, and it was booked for like the next 3 months. And then it was like $1,000 like the week of Christmas. And I was like, this is crazy. I mean, whoever built this is making some money, And obviously when you're doing the Airbnb or second home space, a lot of that goes into like the market and all of that. But it's crazy what people can get for some of these. There's definitely a demand for it.
The demand, to your point, the demand is there, and those rates are being driven by, there's not a whole lot out there. And the people that are being successful in this space are the ones that are really paying attention to the guest experience, being unique about it. if you're just going to go get some random house and it's going to be bland and you're going to throw it on some platform to rent it, those are the ones where there's really no point of differentiation.
Yeah, these are like really unique. Yeah, because I do like when you go on like an Airbnb, like the normal homes don't do as well as like something unique as this. Or it could just, if it's a normal home, you're just going to get like a flat rate, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, where do you, like, I guess the other question I had was, I wrote down a bunch of questions. I was definitely curious about this. Like, do you see like many investors getting to this? Because a lot of people will call me, like, so me and you both live in the DMV area. By the way, if you're thinking about buying or selling a house, the DMV, and one of these I can connect you with this, definitely hit me up. But I had to get I'm the only sponsor, by the way, you know what I mean? So, but like, do you see like this being like a good model for investors? Because a lot of people will call me, especially if there's a lot of homeowners that have a ton of equity now. And they're like, hey, you know, I want to buy an investment. And I'm like, yeah, the numbers don't really work in the DC area, right? Because houses are so expensive. Have you had like many investors come or like want to work with you guys?
I mean, we get a ton of investors. Ultimately, it's gonna be on a case by case basis.
Right.
Like you're gonna have to find the piece of land in the right location where the right size unit can all kind of work together to make it work on paper.
Yeah, for sure. So if someone was watching and they were like, this is really cool, like I might have an opportunity, like what would be like the first step to like kind of get started with you guys or like talk to you guys? Where would they go? Like what would the walkthrough process look like?
Yeah, once we understand where you're looking to go and if we need to help you with your financing, we can connect you with our partners. That kind of helps us build like, you know, what is the total project that we are looking at and understanding, hey, is there anything special that we need to be doing? Is this more about like just like waiting for you to check with your county? We're happy to kind of wait and be there as a resource to provide you with that information. But once we get going, once you've decided that this is the right unit for you, it moves pretty smoothly.
Yeah. This is like, honestly, like if it's hard to watch if you're like watching on camera, but like even the quality walking around here, and then like you can tell like all of this is like high end. It's just like I've been shocked, man. Like I said, it's almost like a luxury resort feel, you know. And then you've got these huge windows. Like I'm definitely impressed with what you guys have done. I didn't know what I was walking into, I'm not gonna lie. So then when I saw it, I was like, whoa, these are cool, man. So you definitely you said it's kind of got like a Japanese like feel to it, like theme. That's what you're looking for?
Yeah, a little Japanese, little Baltic, Scandinavian, kind of all rolled up into a little baby.
Where's like the craziest place that you've had sent one of these or have someone doing one of these so far?
Right now, I think probably Turks and Caicos is the one that we haven't shipped it yet, but that's a one in process, and that's because we build these probably more sturdy than most.
Right. Yeah.
We build these to meet hurricane code, wind shear, and California seismic, and states.
So it's almost like a car like scale. It's like you got to have it all ready for like each jurisdiction and all that.
Yeah. It has to meet everything, and I think that's the other thing that people see when they come in here and they see how we build these things. These things are kind of they're not built like your typical kind of track home when you.
Yeah, they almost look like bunkers. You know what I mean? Like I feel like if there was a bomb going off, I'd be in a good spot with one of these. Yeah, I mean they're definitely well like crafted for sure. What's kind of like your future vision for the company? Like what do you like kind of like on your goal board for this company?
Yeah, for us, it's one, we want to connect with more individuals that just want their own space. I think that enabling people to create those experiences for themselves is really important to us. But again, it's that kind of spectrum of people. There's a lot of people out there that are they're really interested in getting into the hospitality space. It's a high barrier to entry space.
Yeah,
I mean,
for sure.
it's a hotel. Like that's not just you're walking out there and doing it on a whim. It's something that's a really considered thing. But there's so many people out there, especially with the way that travel's changed over the past couple of years, that have such unique ideas. It really is like a rising tide lifts all boats. Like there is room for everybody.
Right.
And so we just want to help those people kind of
get in there. Yeah, I mean, like when the presidential race was going on, I had a couple people from the media call me. I thought it would be a bigger topic, but a lot of them were calling me about the home affordability issues and like lack of housing, and I think this could definitely be the future for sure. I mean, sometimes it just doesn't make sense with the rising cost of land and all of that to come in and put all these neighborhoods in, everything like that. But man, this is really like a cool setup. You know, I appreciate you having us out here, man. So if someone wanted to reach you guys, like what's your website, Instagram, all of that? By the way, your Instagram's popular. I've seen it on.
Yeah, we have a great person running our Instagram.
Nice.
She does an amazing job. There's always something fun to watch there. But definitely check us out. We're at tomuhouse.com or at Tomu House, TOMU_HAUS,
right,
or our website, tomuhouse.com.
Nice. And then if they reach out, they fill out a form, and then you guys give them a call?
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, so really, guys, definitely hit them up. This is something that you're interested in. I definitely think this is the future. Like, one day if I come into some land, I'll probably be hitting you up. Hopefully you'll give me a good deal, you know what I mean? But no, I'm just kidding. But anyways, yeah, definitely hit them up. Like just walking around the factory here, like you can see like how good the quality and construction and all this is. And I would just be BSing if I wasn't being straight. But that really is. It's like high end, and there's guys walking around working right now. It's definitely, I'm really impressed, man. Congrats on this thing. I'm really excited about what you guys are going to be doing for the future.
Well, again, thank you for coming out.
Yeah, the one cool thing I will say too is like, as I thought about this real quick, these would be like cool in like a beach setting, to mountain, to even like the Hamptons, you know. So the look of them and all that definitely is like cool the way that you built these.
Yeah, the camera's getting one nice view, but really they're missing the best one, which is the big double doors that were in front of us.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They had to make me look good, so I had to bring as many cameras as possible to cut it up, man. But I appreciate you, man. Thanks again.
Hey, thanks.
And guys, definitely subscribe and definitely check out their website. We'll link below. And thanks again for watching our latest episode here. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you.